So this year I'm approaching 50. In fact, it's in less than 6 months. My birthday is on July 27th. And typically I'm okay with it, but I've been realizing things about myself that I never really took notice of before. So for example, my eyesight's gotten really bad. Um, but as I lose that sense of vision, another type of vision has become heightened. Like I could be in a mid conversation with someone and almost immediately I can call bullshit. I can say to myself, what you're saying makes absolutely no sense. Now, the younger me was able to just ignore it or just tell myself that that's how people are and, just let them be themselves. But older me has zero time for it. Sometimes I'm even wondering if when people get older and they get dementia or they start reverting back to a different time in their mind, is because maybe it's easier because that time was better versus what they're dealing with in front of them, which is so much BS. You get up and I can't even tell you, you walk. Suddenly nowadays I have a pain in my ankle if it's too cold outside. Your body changes, and no matter how much you exercise or try to eat well or anything, the reality is you've been using this machine for 50 years and it's time for a tune-up, or the parts are just not working anymore. There was a huge conversation surrounding menopause last year because I guess most of my friends are also going through the same thing. And I'd listen to them and I'd go about it and I said, and why do we think for 1 minute that men don't have similar issues? They might come out in a different way, but if you understand what men go through in the middle of their lives, maybe there'd be less divorces, because you start to think about all the things, the decisions you made and the things you've done, and whether or not you did the right thing or you could have done that better, or could you be somewhere else financially at this point in your life? Could you be somewhere else physically? I've never exercised more now than I ever have in my whole life because your mortality is facing you. And you see other people, growing up, I see people who need hip replacements or who need all sorts of different surgeries. And I've told myself that you don't use it, you lose it. So I've tried to get more active in maintaining myself. But the biggest transformation is how small your circle becomes. I had a very good friend for many years who did something to me that I thought wasn't okay. The old me might have shrugged it off or might have been willing to have a conversation, but you get to a place where you're like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. If at this age you can actually go through and do something like that, there's nothing to work out. And as you go through life and as you age, you start to develop more and more of that. And so as soon as you see bullshit, you cut it off. You don't even want to work through it anymore, because I realize what's happening. What's happening is that I'm feeling like there's more life behind me than that's what's in front of me. And what you don't want to do is invest the time anymore to make things right with people. It's either you figure it out or you got it together by now, or I have to move on, because we don't know how much time we have left. Every time someone dies, the first thing I do is minus my age from theirs and ask myself, is that how many time I have left? And so time becomes so important that you're now more concerned with how you spend it. Dates that you might have given a chance to before, you're not doing that anymore. The minute you see bullshit, it's like I said to someone the other day, I don't like pets in the house. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I might date this person. Their dog looks a bit old. They're going to die anyway, so I'll just convince them not to get a new one. Now, if you have one, I'm not interested. You could be the nicest person on earth, but I'm just not interested because I don't have the time to go through the adjustment period anymore. I don't know if I've got 10 more years. I don't know if I have 50 more years, but I definitely know, and it's more clear about how I want to spend them. So men are going through their own things in the middle of their lives, and some of them buy fancy cars, some of them get hair replacement, some find a younger woman. Everybody deals with it differently, but not because we don't go through medical changes that are more visible. Like when people talk about women going through menopause, doesn't mean that we're not going through some shit. And you have to be aware of that for the men in your life. Otherwise, chaos is going to ensue. So until next time, and my next point of view, just be mindful.